All right, folks, what's good? We are back. Another episode, Ain't No Seats podcast. Before we get into everything, last week we obviously mentioned that we joined a new network. We are with KCSN. Last week was the first episode. So for some of you KCSN listeners, we may be dropping in, or we are dropping in your normal Chiefs feed. So this is obviously not Chiefs sports talk. This is KU basketball talk. So if you want more KU basketball talk, go subscribe to the KCSN KU Jayhawks basketball football channel. We're going to be on there. There's a few other KU shows on there. And hopefully, if you're a Chiefs fan, you'll enjoy what we have to say about the Hawks. So let's get into it, boys. Played OU, played Oklahoma State. Oklahoma was weirdly close, but also not that close. And Oklahoma State was the first kind of just game in what feels like, I guess Baylor, but the first game in what feels like forever that we just kind of got to sit back, relax. Wasn't always pretty, but it was also really fun at times. We just got to sit back, relax, watch the Hawks cook for like 40 straight minutes. Well, we'll get into not 40 straight minutes, but yeah. I don't know. B-Turn, how nice was it to just kind of have a game that we were relaxed for the entire time?
Yeah, I know. I guess it's kind of funny playing against Oklahoma State this year. There's just been like lapses where we can't score. I know they're good defensively, but in the first half kind of jumped out to like a 10-4 lead. And then it was like, I think they went a couple minutes without scoring. We started the game like 5 of 21 from the floor, and then the last 5 minutes we didn't end up scoring. But I think you texted the group like talking Final Four talk. Like obviously we like to hype ourselves up, but at that moment, like we really were cooking. And when Jalen and Dave, they've been playing a lot better lately. So it's like when Oach, CB, Jalen, Dave are all cooking. Like there's going to be teams that are more athletic than us throughout the country, but when they're cooking and all 4 of those dudes are on, I still think we could beat almost anyone in the country.
Yeah, I mean, AB was kind of roasting, or he didn't quite roast us in the group chat last night when me and you were like, wow, I mean, Jalen's going, CB's going, Oach is going, like, we're good, boys. Like, you know, we yo-yo around, like we melt down here, we melt down there, but then we always come back and get our hopes up for a Final Four or a national championship. And last night was just a glaring example of that. We started off awful, like you said. We really turned it on for a while. And then as we're all getting excited about how good Jalen was, how good everyone was, we just play the worst 5 minutes of basketball you can play to end the game. So AB, as a guy that I said it last week, you're like the more easy level. I don't know. I don't think you overreact quite as much as me and B-Turn, but I mean, do you think we're overreacting when we watch KU play at that level? Are we not Final Four good? Or, I mean, why was your response the way it was? Not to throw you under the bus.
That's fine. I don't know. You guys kind of mentioned it already. Like the first half of that game was kind of like slow and then fast and then slow. And you can do that and still blow out a team that's not eligible for the tournament this year. But I don't know how much you can get away with that for 4-6 straight NCAA tournament games to like expect a run to happen. It always could, but are like Jalen and Dave really going to be that good for 4 straight games to get to a Final Four, 2 more to win a title? Like, I don't know. I'm a little more confident than I was last week, I guess, but it was still like Oklahoma and Oklahoma State, 2 non-tournament teams probably. So I know I love Boynton, but I don't know. Yeah. I'm trying to stay level-headed so I don't have a big disappointment second weekend of March.
But like even before this week though, it felt like we've been pretty hot lately. Like if Texas game the last minute, if the final minute would have went a little differently, like what would we be saying about this team? Because Baylor's a top 10 team. They come into Allen. The defense looked really good finally, and we beat them. We were up 30 at one point. So it's like if we ended up beating Texas and we were on this big winning streak right now, like I wonder what we would be saying, because like that game, we should have won that game.
Yeah. I mean, weirdly, that Texas game, even though we lost, like I think that is the first time I started to get my hopes back up, because we obviously had that stretch in January. It was like, I mean, Kentucky kills us. But coming off the Baylor game, I know we lost to Texas. It was bananas that we lost that game, but we just played super officially. And that's what we talked about last week, because we looked really good. And so I was starting to get my hopes up. Now, Saturday, you know, I get it. Allen Fieldhouse kind of flat. We've had Kentucky, Baylor, Texas Tech double overtime game. Like Allen Fieldhouse we've had these huge games for like what feels like a month straight. Then you get OU, who's not really doing that well this year. It felt like we just didn't have quite the same energy, but we still handled it. Now, I will say my biggest concern right now with this, well, I wouldn't say biggest. There's some concerns, but how much should we be concerned about the fact that this team just can't close out games? Like that OU game being a 2-point game is insane. Like I don't even know what we were up before that happened. Now, granted, Goldwire's not going to – I mean, that guy's not a good shooter. He's draining threes. But, like, the fact that we had to sweat that one out, and then even Oklahoma State, I know we won easily, but we go 5 minutes without putting a single point on the board. Not just a field goal. We didn't score a point for the last 5 minutes. I mean, that's majorly concerning heading into March.
Yeah, I think we talked about that after the Texas game, just after the final minute, because we talked about the Oklahoma State game in Stillwater, which we ended up winning pretty handily. But that stretch at the end where there was like 10 turnovers by each team. And yeah, the OU game was crazy. Like I was in Vegas for the game being a degenerate, and there was a couple people that had -10. And for a little bit, it looked like KU was going to cover maybe. Like we were up, I think we were up a couple possessions and we were getting to the line. We missed 100 free throws. CB missed a few. I forget who else missed free throws, but it was to a point where a couple of people thought we were going to cover. And then I'm sitting on the kiosk placing bets because, like I said, I'm a degenerate. I look up and they steal the inbound pass, get a layup, and we're up 2. At that point, they made the layup to make it a 2-point game, I think. Or no, it was
that might have cut it to 1, and then we split free throws to go up 2.
Made 1 free throw. They come down. Goldwire takes the mid range, and I kind of was surprised they didn't shoot a 3 just the way Goldwire was playing. And I swore Tanner Groves was hitting a 3 every time he was wide open too. I feel like he missed a couple big ones.
Yeah, and I want to talk a little more about that OU game because obviously Groves was a problem. It was deja vu from the tournament. But yeah, the Goldwire shot, like you always know when the opposing team takes a shot late in the game, and when you see them take it, you feel a sense of relief. That's how that Goldwire shot. Like that was such a dumb shot for him to just settle for a turnaround mid-range jumper when 1, he'd been making threes, and 2, I don't know, he's probably their worst offensive player on the floor at that. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. I thought I had a feeling Groves was going to hit a pick and pop in our face, and it was just going to be an all-time dagger. Would have been one of the worst losses. But that's how this team is. Like, they just don't close anybody out, so you're constantly waiting for the next bad thing to happen. And I'm terrified of that in March. It gives you Trey Burke, March type, just terrifying vibes. Sorry.
Well, I want to go back to the final possession. Like, I don't know how you guys feel, but I feel like in Allen Fieldhouse, like you're hanging with KU, you got it to a 2-point game, and like Allen Fieldhouse is probably the hardest place in the country to win. Are you like, why would you not take a 3 in that situation? Because it's like, I understand going for the tie, more basketball, but going to OT and Allen, you're probably going to lose regardless. So it's like, why? And then if you do lose, who cares? You know what I'm saying? Like if you miss the 3, who cares? But
yeah,
why not go for the win in Allen?
Yeah, that's what I said. I was so, even if he makes that turnaround jumper, it's like, okay, we'll win in overtime. We always win in overtime, feels like. But yeah, I could not believe that's what they settled for. I mean, it feels like we've kind of I wanted to start with Oklahoma State, but it feels like we've kind of transitioned to talking OU. And now that we're on the topic, our boy Zach Clements, who had not practiced in weeks and hadn't played in weeks, Bill gives him the green light, tells him to go out there, puts him on Groves, and he, like, it's dramatic to say he won us the game, but the fact that he was the only guy that could, I think Bill said after the game, hedge a ball screen and get back to Groves to defend the 3. Like, one, I love to see Clements, step. We need that extra bench down low, but how concerned are we that Dave and Mitch are seniors? Mitch is a 6-year senior, and we can't trust them to hedge a ball screen and get back out on a guy that torched us last year in March. We saw him do this.
Is Mitch just done now?
Well, that was going to be my next question.
Right. I know you wanted to wait for the next game, but Clemens, first guy off the bench, like, I'm for it. Cole said this last night, but we already know what Mitch is. Like, he's been here for 8 decades. So, like, what more can we really expect out of him? So you might as well take the wild card draw and see if it adds any ceiling for you.
Yeah, and like last night against Oklahoma State, he came in late, and then you just kind of like feel bad for him, Like Mitch came in, he didn't play the whole game really. He came in super late, and you're just like, damn, just because he has been here 5-6 years, and I don't know how you guys feel, but I feel like he's been a lot better this year compared to past years. So it's like we're not even trying to knock Mitch, but like what can he even do differently? He's just a little undersized and just playing out of position.
I think AB said it. Like Clements just adds an element that we just don't have at all.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the fact that he's able to confidently, after not practicing or playing, just confidently catch a ball at the top of the key and launch a three down two, like we don't have that. Nobody else does that at the big down low for us. So, but I'm not. I mean, we say this all the time. We talked all last week about it. The Bill Self trust tree. Mitch is very high on the Bill Self trust tree. He has been. He's been there forever. He knows how to run the offense. He just does the things Bill Self likes. I would not be shocked at all if like we go 2 games without seeing Clements again. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but that's how Bill Self is, to where like you start to get your hopes up that, hey, this guy that kind of provides something, we've been missing. And he's a little more excited. I mean, we, like you said, AB, we know what Mitch is. Clements is just different. He shoots it. He's I don't know. He's more exciting. With that said, I think Bill could easily just keep riding Mitch. So I don't know. What is your official prediction? Will Clements be the first guy off the bench heading into March, or will we ride Mitch?
I don't know. I'm kind of with you. Like, it takes 1 or 2 bad shots for him to just get in the doghouse again. I mean, that's how it's been forever since Bill got here. So that's kind of hard to answer without knowing what he's going to do. But if he just keeps performing, not like numbers wise, but if he keeps going out there and doing the right things, I mean, I don't see any reason why they would take that away from him if they're going to him right now.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he doesn't really make mistakes. So it's like, I feel like he is going to be a guy that's in Bill's trust circle. And like, I feel like the OU game obviously did get him that circle, because it's like you said, he was the first big off the bench. And I feel all year, like, I really feel like Zach just comes in the game. He comes off the bench cold and he makes shit happen. Like, he comes in, makes hooks, he rebounds the ball, he hits occasional jumpers. Like, that shot against OU was huge. We weren't really hitting jumpers at all. And Zach comes in, I think it was the go-ahead 3. So he's super impressive to me.
Yeah, I love it. I hope. I mean, it's just, I want Zach Clements. I want that style of play. Like, it's exciting to have a near 7-footer that can step out, hit a 3, guard other guys that hit a 3. I mean, how many times have we watched this team lose in March because guys are just hitting 3s in our face? No contest. No, I mean, we just, even like Villanova. Like, you think back to Villanova with Udoka before Udoka became the best defensive player in the country. Like, he had no answer for Spellman back then. It was just this guy shooting 3s over us because if Doak gets out there, he's going around him. So it's like Clements just adds a exciting element. I was very relieved to see he clearly inched his way up the Bill Self trust tree by being the first big off the bench. But yeah, I think AB said it. Takes 2 back-to-back mistakes to be out of that tree really fast. So I hope for Clements' sake it doesn't happen. I hope for our sake it doesn't happen, because I feel like we need that extra element heading into March. But
I could see Clements having a random game in the tournament like Aldridge did his freshman year.
Yeah, or even just like a Silvio Duke game where like you don't have to score a bunch of points, but just come in and be solid in a weird matchup.
Because like you said, Zach's got really good footwork too. Like, he can get out and guard guys, and you're probably not going to – a big's probably not going to blow by him. Like, he has good footwork. He's got good touch around the rim. So I don't know if he'll make too many mistakes, and I feel like Bill clearly trusts him, or he wouldn't be pulling 3s. I think he hit another one last night.
Well, I was going to ask you guys, like, do you think Zach had the green light to launch that 3 against OU? I mean, I'm sure he did, but even when he shot it, I was kind of like, whoa, that was kind of a ballsy shot there, but it worked out great. But I don't know. You question if Bill was that one where Bill's going, no, yes. And then tells him to sit down once it goes in. Yeah, I mean, I think it's potentially could have been that, but
he's shown he can shoot it, though, is the thing with him. Which, like you said, that's a huge element in the tournament.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm thinking back, AB, I think you said all year, obviously, I think you've had your biggest concerns were you're a Ken Palm guy. So you always say what's the stat if you're not a top 20 defense?
Yeah, you got to be top 20 in offense and defense. I can't remember what the number is of past national champions, but it's something crazy like 17 out of 20 or something weird.
So we're at like 35 on defense.
Yeah, I think it was 37 on Ken Palm and 40 on Torvik. So we got some work to do. But I mean, you even tweeted last night, the defense I feel like has come around a little bit. Like you're not going to make that all up in 1 or 2 games, but
so the reason I'm throwing this out there is I want to throw out a few scenarios for you, and I want you guys to tell me what you think the most likely reason we lose in March. Is it 1, a late game meltdown like we've seen this team do? Texas, what else do we melt down? I mean, well, we've melted down a lot and we found ways to win, but obviously in March that's harder to do. So 1, is it a late game meltdown? 2, is it a just poor defensive night where the other team makes a ton of shots? Or 3, is it just we get matched up with an incredibly athletic team that we just can't even keep up with, similar to Kentucky? I don't know. Am I missing any other doomsday scenarios for this team in March? Like, I feel like those are the 3 biggest concerns.
Well, there's
actually, I got one more.
Free throws? Yeah. Is that what you're going to say?
Well,
free throws can be tied in with 1, but also it could be a thing where like it's a close game the whole time and we're down Syracuse. 3 and we're like, yeah, exactly. It's like the Syracuse.
The other one I was going to throw out, which is weird because we're a top 5 offensive team, but like we can go on such long droughts. And I feel like we've said this, but like there is nothing more terrifying than being in a second round game against a 9 seed. You go 4 or 5 minutes without scoring. They build like a 10-point lead. And all of a sudden that entire crowd, which half of which isn't even there to watch that game, starts to completely turn on you and it becomes a road game. And so like that terrifies me the most maybe is the droughts, but it's hard to think that's going to be what derails this team because we win a ton of those games where we have droughts. We win by double digits sometimes. So I don't know. Those 3-4 scenarios, what's the one that has you most scared?
I was just going to say, I feel like the droughts, I don't know if you guys agree, but I feel like the droughts is almost like a college basketball thing.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
But I mean, I was gonna say 1 before you said 3, so it'd be a mix between those, like between those 2. Just because for 2, I just feel like Bill eventually gets the guys to buy in defensively, and like we said, they have bought in. They've been a lot better defensively. But I gotta say the meltdown thing. I mean, we were seconds away from losing that game to OU, and we were up like 8 late, and then we talked about the game in Stillwater. Like we've been skating by for a while, and we had a feeling that would slip up, and we did against Texas. Like we turned it over twice in the last minute. We left a guy wide open for 3, even though he stunk at shooting, but he made it. But yeah, because we melted down in the end of the first half too. So it's like it just feels like there's not a guard that wants to take over late for us and handle the ball.
AB, I've got my answer, but I want to hear yours first.
Okay. I think mine's a mix of 1 and 4. I think during our late game meltdown, we're also missing free throws, and it all comes together. I also think the athleticism thing is like a big deal, but if we're a 1 or a 2 seed, we're probably not going to be overwhelmed athletically until the second weekend anyway. So,
well, we're all over the place because I think mine's my one thing is still I'm hung up on just like that Kentucky game like scarred me. How much just more athletic and like that's something Bill Self can't get out of his guys. Like that's what I was gonna say. And B-Turn, you kind of already said it. He's gonna get us playing defense. I'm convinced of that. It's Bill Self, the guy. All he thinks about is defense. And I think the late game meltdowns are gonna improve as well, just because, again, Bill Self, he dominates late in games. He's the best coach there is under 2-3 minutes. So like, I think those are things that can be fixed. The athleticism thing is still. It's not that we're not. I don't know. It sounds weird. We're not unathletic. We're just
like last night when you were texting us about Final Four. Like watching us, like it just felt different. Like they were going at a different speed. Like they were just on a different level. Like when Ochai and like CB and Jalen and DeJuan had some great looks last night, getting guys open. Like it just felt like I don't know. I feel like we've looked a little different lately, and I was kind of worried about Baylor from an athletic standpoint. And
I know.
I know they're not close to Kentucky. Like Kentucky's just loaded with athletes, but I don't know. I mean, like AB said, we probably wouldn't see a super athletic team. Like I feel like it's probably a handful of teams that are like way more athletic that are going to be in the tournament, like Auburn, maybe like Houston, Kentucky. So it's like, I don't know. The athleticism thing doesn't scare me, but the meltdown thing does. Cause it's like, you could play a senior leading team in the second round that plays good defense and they press you to death to end the game. And they go on an 8-0 run and we don't score in the last 5 minutes like we did last night. So,
yeah. Well, why I threw the scenario out there. We all
like
have.
Well, the athleticism thing, though, it's like I feel like it's mostly with the bigs, like the bigs that can step out and shoot, dribble, drive, whatever. And if Clemens is actually going to like be able to guard that at least a little better than Mitch or Dave, then I think that's why I'm kind of pulling back on the athleticism thing a little bit. I still think there's teams that can overwhelm us, but it's definitely a chip in the right basket to have a guy that can step out and guard, a 6'10" shooter, driver.
Yeah, love it. Good old-fashioned debate there, boys. All right. The other thing I want to talk about is we're talking about Clemens. He's been great. I think I tweeted this last night. Got some pushback. People still afraid to admit it, but like Dave is really good again. Dave, I've officially been convinced that Dave is really good.
I thought he was a lot better than his box score last night. Like, I think it's from like a under control, like actually catching and holding on the ball standpoint. Like he looks way more, you know what I'm saying? Like he looks way more.
No, I do.
It just sounds so basic, so it's funny. Like
he's securing. Yeah, I know. I literally wrote down under control catching balls on my sheet. I don't like, maybe I'm wrong, but he's actually like grabbing every rebound and like actually being aggressive. Like it felt like our guards would be the guys that would go up and get some of the rebounds he was getting last night. And like it actually looked like his vertical might have went up like 1 or 2 inches over the last few days or something. I don't know. But he was finishing, hitting turnaround jumpers. He dunked the basketball. He had 12 and 12, so I guess his box score was good, but I think he was 4 of 10 from the floor. So,
dude, I'm telling you, he was like, Dave is so hard because it's like he can be so bad at times that it like makes you unwilling to admit that he's good. But then he has a performance like last night. Even OU, he wasn't fantastic or anything. I think he was kind of like hurt a little bit. But like I was dying for Dave to be back in the game until Clemens, obviously. So yeah, Dave was bad. He was bad defensively. But offensively, Dave has, I don't know, he's got me all the way back on the Dave train. And I'm convinced that he can be the guy in March. AB, as the level-headed guy, are we idiots for trusting Dave?
No, Dave's Dave to me. I don't really have any opinions on him. Like sometimes he'll show up and be great. Other times he'll just, I am worried about his foot. Didn't say he's like 70% at best the rest of the year.
Yeah.
So maybe we should add another option to debate of if injuries is going to fuck us over. But
that's
Dave
like two guys.
I laugh.
We haven't talked about him yet, but
I was going to bring him up. So let's just do it right now. I have a take.
Done.
I don't think Remy's playing the rest of the year.
No.
I think he's done.
Especially with Joe being awesome. Like,
I don't know. I'm not going to go full conspiracy theory and say that the knee injury is hey, let's mutually agree that you're not going to play anymore. But now you can go to NBA Scouts, say that you were hurt all year. We can tell transfers, hey, the reason Remy didn't work out was he was hurt. Works out both ways for both teams. Not going to go that far for the conspiracy
sounds like
theory.
you have gone that far.
I'm just going to say, I don't think he's coming back. What are we, 2 weeks from March?
It's February 15th right now. So,
but like,
how did 3 weeks left in the season?
How did it get to that point? Like, I don't understand. Like, do him and Bill not get like? Is it that bad?
I don't know. That's why I don't want to like
slippery slope.
I don't know
because we know how stubborn Bill is too. Like,
well, if we're not careful, we might get called out in Bill's next presser.
Yeah, no, and I think it's definitely mutual to the point of like Remy, I think, is probably frustrated that Bill won't let him just play with a little more freedom. And I think Bill is frustrated that Remy won't just buy into his system because he's won 1 billion games and every good guard that's come through here has bought into what Bill Self does. So I don't know. I don't think it worked out. I don't think it was as good a fit as we thought. Now, I hope I'm wrong. I hope we can play this back next week and Remy's suiting up and getting some decent minutes. And I think Bill continues to say, yeah, we're hoping he's back in the next week or two. But then a week passes and it's the same answer. So it's like hard to
He
get
said
your hopes
tonight
up.
that he's probably out again next week and he's still feeling some pain. So that's kind of why I wanted to talk about it, because if he's already booking off another week, I mean, next thing you know, it's going to be the last week of the season. Then
yeah,
that's what I'm saying. They're just dragging it out. I just feel like Bill's dragging it out, and I honestly, like when he said on Hawk Talk tonight or whenever that he doesn't know when he's coming back or when he's going to be back, and it just made me immediately think he's just done for the year. Like he's just not going to play. And Vern got a lot of shit for it, but I mean, since then he's not playing. So I think Vern was probably right.
Yeah, it's like different than, like the LeGerald Vick situation where LeGerald Vick left the team. We didn't really know why. There was rumors all year, is LeGerald going to come back? Is LeGerald going to come back? Bill would say he's dealing with family stuff. He might come back. We knew he wasn't coming back. We knew it was a mutual parting ways. But I think the difference is with Remy and Bill, I think off the court, Remy and Bill get along fine. I really do. I think Remy's teammates love him. I think he loves KU, and I think he wants his team to do well. But I just don't think they can figure it out on the court. I think he drives Bill nuts, and yeah, wasn't a good fit. And we'll leave it at that. I'm not going to get crazy conspiracy on you, but
it is frustrating.
I probably already have.
Like he had to know transferring into KU, like he's not going to be able to do the same shit he did at Arizona State. Like,
yeah,
I don't know, like what went into his mindset when he decided to come here instead of trying to go to the draft or going somewhere where he can put up 20 shots a night. If that's what it is, like we said, we don't know, but it just from the jump this year, it never really felt like he was a fit.
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah, I feel like Bill's had I feel like Nadir was in his doghouse for a whole year, and he started on one of the most talented KU teams we've ever seen.
That's
so
true.
It's like, I don't know. And I heard like a few months ago or a month ago, whenever it was, like someone close to the team told me that the feedback Remy got was they want him to be able to run an offense. They want him to be a true point guard, get guys involved, facilitate. And it makes sense too, because like they know he can score. They've watched Remy Martin score at Arizona State for a few years now. So it's like AB said, he had to have known coming here that he wasn't going to be able to pull from 30 feet. He wasn't going to be able to take crazy shots. Like, I guarantee Bill told him that. Like, I feel like there was quotes from Remy that were like, I wanted to come here because Bill is tough and he's going to coach me and he's not just going to hand me everything. So I don't know.
And I think I think every recruit KU's ever gotten has said, I want to go play for Bill Self because he coaches people hard and he makes you buy in and he's not going to make things easy. That's really easy to say. It makes a really good quote. But when you have to show up every single day Remy had no clue what Bill's system really looked like. He got pitched it, but he didn't really know. And I think it just becomes a freaking grind to keep up with what Bill Self demands. He's such a demanding dude. And yeah, it just didn't work out. It sucks for everyone involved. I hope this is all an idiotic segment. I hope Remy comes back next week. 2 weeks, things are good, but it's just, I think you'd be getting your hopes wildly high if you think that's possible. All right.
It's kind of sad too, because he was coming off the bench against Tech, and I thought he was pretty awesome from an energy standpoint. And is that the last time we've seen him, or did he play after that?
After that was Kentucky, right?
I think he played against Kentucky, but not much, right?
He hit a 3, I remember. Yeah.
And then he was out against Iowa State. So yeah.
Yeah.
I thought he was so much fun in that Texas Tech game. He wasn't making every shot, but so much energy on both ends. Yeah, he was awesome.
That's where the knee thing gets hard. Like, nope, not doing it. Not going conspiracy
Let's
theory
just move
route.
On
but like, yeah. Okay, I want to go on to my new favorite segment, bracketology update from AB. AB, you're a bracketology guy. You track this stuff.
Yeah.
I've seen us. We're 1 seed. We're a 2 seed. Lay out where we're at and throw me some scenarios on what we could expect.
So the two main ones I look at are Lenardi and then Jerry Palm with CBS. They both have us as a 2. Lenardi does his like full seeding thing, and we're the 5th overall today. So I guess the path to a 1 seed is just win the conference, probably win the conference tournament, and that should do it. Just because Kentucky and Auburn, I mean, they're gonna have to. One of them's gonna lose in the SEC tournament, so you would think a loss might bounce them down.
But isn't Auburn pretty much a lock for a 1? I mean, if Auburn loses 1 to Kentucky and then loses even in the SEC tournament, they're sitting at 4 losses. Like in my mind, it's Gonzaga and Auburn are locks, and then the other 2 are pretty open, right?
I think it's Arizona and Kentucky.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The Arizona thing's weird to me too, because there's going to be like 3 teams from the Pac-12 that make it. So it's like, do they have a crazy strength of schedule? Do they have I feel like they played a tough schedule and they beat some good teams, but I feel like that's a team we could jump for sure. Even though I think they're awesome. Like that would be, I'd be scared of them. Yeah, they're good as hell. Yeah. I'd be scared of them.
Yeah, I don't know. And so Kentucky's playing at Tennessee right now. If they lose that one, we'll hop them to the 1 line. And then they probably play Auburn 2 more times. So I think the best shot is we hop Kentucky. But I still think, I mean, Arizona, like you said, B-Turn, the Pac-12 is so bad that UCLA just lost to like a 15-loss Arizona State team the other day. And I mean, that just ruins your resume for like a 1 seed. So I'm not saying I don't think Arizona's bad, so I don't think they will lose one of those games. I just feel like 2 spots are very much up for grab. And honestly, I've been wanting to throw this take out there. I think it's possible the Hawks win out. I think it's possible.
I don't hate it. Schedule soft.
so like no matter what happens, if the Hawks win out, we'd be the 1 seed.
What's worse, losing to Arizona State or Dayton?
Oh my God.
I think it's Arizona State.
Arizona State's bad.
They are bad.
They've been a little better lately, but yeah.
Can we pull up like Ken Palm really quick and check?
Oh, their Ken Palm's terrible, but I think they beat who'd you just say they beat?
UCLA.
Or UCLA, yeah.
And then they beat Washington State as a 12-point dog on Saturday. So they've been a little better, but yeah, I've seen them lose by like 30 or 40 to teams. But how much does that Dayton game hurt us? Like if we won that game, would we be a lock? Just because I feel like that's obviously a terrible loss. But it's non-con, so like how much does it matter? I just don't know bracketology as well as like AB, I feel like.
I don't really get hung up, and maybe you can answer this, but I don't get that hung up on the Dayton game because it's like, yeah, we lost that one, but we could have easily lost to K-State and I don't know, maybe it would have been better to lose to K-State, but in my mind, like the Dayton loss was so long ago, I don't know how hardly that's going to be used against us when it comes to seeding, but I don't know. What do you think, AB?
Yeah, I really don't think it will be either. I feel like the big wins that happen in November, people care about those more than like the bad losses.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't worry about it too much. I don't even know what quadrant they're in. Was that like a quad 2 loss, quad 3?
They're like 4th in the A10.
Yeah.
I mean,
they're definitely better than people thought they were going to be.
They were so bad before we lost them. Like historically bad start to the season.
Is Purdue on the 2 line right now? Like, do they have a chance to be a 1?
Probably. I'm sure their schedule probably. Well, I guess I don't know. They're 7th right now in Lenardi's, so they got.
I could still see Kentucky and Auburn both getting 1s, like 2 SEC teams.
It could happen.
But yeah, if Kentucky beats them in like a week or 2, and then if Kentucky beats,
they don't play again other than the tournament. I just looked at.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So they might not.
SEC is so lame. Well, that sucks. So yeah, we really need Kentucky. We really need Kentucky to lose to Tennessee tonight, which they're down 14 right now. So you love to see that. But
love that.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think Kentucky's the team we obviously have to eye as the one we hop because, hopefully Kentucky drops this one. We'll be clearly in front of them, I think, from a resume standpoint. And then if you just assume they lose to Auburn again in the SEC tournament, if we can find a way to win the Big 12 tournament, I still feel confident if we just win the Big 12, assuming it's not with 5 losses, that we should get the 1 seed because of how strong the conference is.
Yeah, because I know Oklahoma State can't make it, but how many teams are going to get in from the Big 12? Because K-State was like last 4 out last night, and they end up beating I guess West Virginia's not amazing, but they got a conference win. So it's like K-State might be in now. Yeah. Obviously, KU, Baylor, Texas Tech, Texas.
TCU is pretty solidly in.
TCU, like
The
what's
6 or 7 line.
Iowa State's slowly
Dude.
moving out, which is wild.
I had this combo with a friend last night. I think K-State's got a better chance to make it than Iowa State. Like they're at least
especially
have
because they're
some
playing
momentum.
good.
I know Iowa
Yeah.
State's like in right now, but
Yeah,
I don't know.
Iowa State's bad.
Damn.
They're bad.
Fraudulent.
OU just lost to Texas in OT. So I don't know.
Yeah,
Did OU have a chance?
They might miss it
would have
too,
won?
dude.
Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe maybe we don't get as many as we think, but all right.
And then we
Enough
got a lot of,
bracket-
how many quad one wins do we have? Like we got to have close to the
7
most.
or 8. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
we're-
it
I
like
think we're tied for
dropped
second,
somehow. Yeah.
Someone probably just fell to quad 2.
Yeah, I think we've said it. I really want a 1 seed. I probably say this every year, but I feel like this year a 1 seed feels more important just because I do not want Auburn in an Elite Eight game. I do not want Gonzaga in an Elite Eight game. Like you just gotta get to the Final Four and see what happens. But you see those teams in your bracket, you're pretty terrified.
Would you guys rather be like the 1 seed with Kentucky as their 2 or the 2 seed with Arizona as their 1 or something like that?
I was about to say I can already see Ryan tweeting on Selection Sunday if Kentucky's our 2. But also you don't see them till the Elite Eight.
That's the thing, because it's like if we do get a 2, there's a good chance we're like the number 1, 2 seed, and we can't be matched up with Gonzaga or whoever ends up being number 1 overall. I would assume Gonzaga will be.
I could see.
Would you rather have like
us
an
out
easier
west,
matchup?
I don't know. I still want.
We got a lot of time left. We got a lot of time to talk about brackets.
I don't want Kentucky, but who knows? I mean, we could be overreacting to the Kentucky thing. Like, could have just been a fluky game where we looked like absolute trash. And like, give me Bill Self versus Calipari in 40 minutes, and Bill Self's shown a lot of times he can outcoach him. So I don't know. All right. Last
I'll just
thing.
take the 1 seed.
Yeah, me too. Sign me up for that. Do you guys think I'm crazy? I've been talking myself into it. We can win out. We absolutely can win out, and it feels like a thing Bill Self would do heading into March. Like, get questioned all year. Everyone thinks there's this Big 12 race. It's really close, and then we just fire off a 16-2 conference record and go in as a clear number 1 seed heading to the tournament. I've talked myself into it.
I can definitely see it. Schedule's soft. If we just go to Waco, which we've done a million times, and win, and they're banged up. Who got hurt the other day? That crazy last name dude?
Shamu Chachua.
That guy.
Yeah.
Fran Fraschilla loves saying it. I've been practicing it all week.
Yeah, right after Scott Drew showed me videos of the missed calls last year.
Yeah, regular season wise, it's got to just be Baylor that we're worried about, right? I mean,
maybe this weekend
at TCU's tough. West Valley struggling in Morgantown. Texas is at home.
I heard. So
you're saying Big 12 tournament we win too?
I don't know. I was thinking more so regular season. I think if we won out regular season, we could lose in the Big 12 tournament and get a 1 seed. You think that's accurate, AB?
Maybe, but I don't know. People look at that last weekend, so like their memory's not very good. So I'd almost rather lose at Baylor and then beat them in KC in the conference tournament.
Yeah,
I mean, I obviously 2 out of 3, and you get that win the day before Selection Sunday.
I say we win out rest of the year.
Yeah,
36-4, baby.
Okay. I do. There's a few. I think you kind of joked about it, AB, but like West Virginia this weekend, sneaky a trap game.
Always.
You have K-State coming up after that, and then you have Baylor the following Saturday. Those are, 2 of your biggest games just from a rivalry standpoint with K-State, and then it's Baylor and Waco. It's like, are you kind of taking the foot off the pedal when it comes to this West Virginia team that's looked pretty bad, but as we've seen, we can struggle in Morgantown. And the other game that's going to be tough is Texas, the final game of the year. Now, we don't lose on senior night ever, but we play Baylor the February 26th. We play TCU March 1st. We play TCU again March 3rd, and then we play Texas March 5th. That is a ton of basketball games late in the season where Bill Self is having our guys play 38 minutes a game. So, is there any way we lose just from a pure being gassed standpoint? Are we worried at all about that?
Maybe. This thought just kind of popped in my head when you said that. Like, if we've already clinched outright going into that Texas game, already playing 3 games in 6 days,
Yeah.
does he do his little rare thing and sit some dudes? I mean, the seating wouldn't be locked up for the tournament, so I guess that would play into it a little bit.
He's not sitting Ochai on senior night. He's not sitting Dave on senior night.
True.
Like
so that's not going to happen. So
no.
I don't know.
It'll be interesting. I like I said, I jokingly have talked myself into us winning out. Bill Self's done crazy things like it, but AB, you've been on it for a while. The schedule's sneaky soft. It's not that tough. So I think it's doable. It'll be funny to listen back to this in a few weeks and see if I was right or wildly wrong. But
I mean, you think we're not going to lose at home, like we always say. We don't really lose there. At TCU, probably sneaky tough. I feel like it's nearly – I'll probably be wrong on this, but I feel like it's like a guarantee for this Saturday to be a tight game.
Yeah.
At West Virginia, Huggins gets the bonus. Long travel.
Forgot about that.
Huggins gets the bonus.
It's a long trip. We just play like lethargic out there. Like we just come out flat. Even the year Devontae and them won that – him and Svi won that game. Like they came out flat that game. I still feel like West Virginia has some decent guards and like McNeil and Taz McBride, but – and they're not very good, but I don't know. I feel like you guys probably think it will be a close game too, but maybe not.
I mean, Torvik only has it -5. So, like, just that alone.
God.
Makes you anxious, doesn't it?
That seems
I
right.
do not want a stressful game this weekend. It just sounds awful. All right. We got to wrap up here in a second, but I wanted one more. What? What am I forgetting?
Well, you go ahead first. I'll bring up mine last.
I wanted to bring up a couple things from the Oklahoma State game. I feel like we didn't talk a ton about it, but DeJuan Harris was really good. He made jumpers. He looked to score. I think we've said for a while now, it's like DeJuan's not that bad offensively. He just doesn't try to score. Last night he kind of looked for his scoring game a little bit, and he found he hit some shots. He even hit one shot that was like, you know how he only takes shots where they're wide open? He stepped into one last night that was kind of contested where it was kind of like, whoa, if he can bring that, then he's a whole different player. But wanted to shout out DeJuan. B-Turn, you have any thoughts on DeJuan?
Yeah, I just think our fan base needs to relax on him. Like, he's a sophomore, and we don't need a ton out of him. Like, we don't need him to be this all-American type point guard that we're used to having. Like, DeJuan's awesome. He does a lot of little things. I thought he's been great running the offense lately too. Like he had a dime last night that we talked about to Jalen. He hit 2 back-to-back threes. He's been hitting floaters around the rim. He's a great defender. Like it feels like Marcus when all of our fans are like, why is Marcus playing? Like he can't score. He can't even shoot. He's not a threat. Like people would be like, we're playing 5-on-4 when Marcus was there. Now it's like the same thing with DeJuan, but hopefully our fans fall in love with him like they did with Marcus.
Yeah. I mean, it's so easy to just stare at a box score and hate a guy. And that's what people did to Marcus early on in his career. And Marcus had to start making these absurd steals and defensive plays where I feel like people's eyes started to open up like this guy's scary good at defense. But yeah, DeJuan was good. That was nice to see. Jalen has been, he wasn't great last night, but he's still just been so good and been so good in Big 12 play, which, I mean, I don't think that gets talked about enough. I think Oach and CB get all the talk, but Jalen could very much kind of be the guy that goes and wins us a few games in March when teams are fully focusing on those two. So,
yeah, he had 22 and 9 on Saturday against OU, 8 for 12 from the floor. Like and last night he was pretty good until he missed 100 layups in 5 minutes. Like, he literally missed 12 layups in 5 minutes.
He ruined that DeJuan highlight, too. That pass was so sick.
Yeah. Brutal. All right, AB, what did you want to talk about?
Yeah, how do you feel about LeBron's trade deadline? We can start there.
Hey, it's all about It's all about the guys.
He's got enough rings already.
The buyout options, the buyout market, is that what it's called? He's going after those guys.
Sure.
LeBron's been a guy that loves to add age to his team. It's worked out really well this year.
He's going to look awesome in gold and purple.
Exactly. People forget. Darren Williams was a great addition to that Cavs team. Just kidding. I'm annoyed with LeBron, but I'm also at the point where I don't care that much anymore. And I know you think that's a cop-out. Mm-hmm. He got a ring. He's got 5. Or what? He's got 4. Does he have 4? 4.
Yeah, he's got 4. Trust me, I keep count every morning.
Still lost to the Mavs.
Still lost to the Mavs. But yeah, I mean the Lakers stink.
Yeah, the second point, it's the first time in my fandom that I genuinely believe the Bulls have a better team than LeBron. So it would be disingenuous. He's the MVP. I mean, he just is. Like, I don't know what else to say.
No, Joel Embiid. If we're gonna talk KU, it's Embiid.
Like, DeMar's doing stuff that no one but Wilt has done. 6 straight games with
so is
35
Embiid.
plus.
I see like a tweet. I see a tweet every week. Embiid's the first guy since Wilt Chamberlain to do this.
Yeah, the difference is DeMar plays guard. He's shooting over 50% per game as a guard. Mid-range, your favorite shot.
As a guard.
Yeah, and they're not even healthy. I mean, they're the 2 seed right now. Wait till Zach gets back. Wait till Lonzo gets back. Wait till Patrick Williams gets back. Wait till Caruso gets back.
Stop talking.
Wait till we lose 6 to the Bucks in the second round. It's fine.
You do realize if they played LeBron in a series, they'd lose. Like that.
No, I don't realize that, Ryan. I genuinely don't realize.
You haven't learned your lesson yet?
No, not with old ass LeBron. That's still awesome, but everyone else sucks. Like, I'm sorry, Russell Westbrook would not scare me in a series. And I hope we get our finals prediction that you shot down over the summer. I
wouldn't want Russell Westbrook playing point guard for the Kansas Jayhawks. I would start to on.
I am. Yeah. Well, maybe not. He would cook some dudes on the perimeter and get dunks all day long.
That segment or that little line right there might have to be the video that gets tweeted out by KCSN.
Yeah, then Russell Westbrook will come fight me.
I kind of wanted to talk about maybe the worst beat in gambling history in the KU game last night. I didn't have it, I promise. But
was it KU team total? Yeah. No, I haven't seen it. It had to be team total. We didn't score the final 5 minutes.
KU team total was over under 77. They're up 76-52 with 5:10 to go. 5:10 to go. And just throwing up bricks. But the worst part is back-to-back possessions. Foul. Zach Clements misses both. Joe gets fouled the next possession, misses both. And I didn't have it, but think about how many people in the world gamble now, just from Barstool and so many people get I bet there was hundreds of people that somehow had KU over. And you're sitting at 76 with, imagine having the under.
But it never goes our way when we have the side of the bad beat that's good. There's always 2 sides to the coin, but I don't know. That's brutal.
The second time against Oklahoma State, because you remember the first time some guy did I don't remember what he did, but he did a KU team total over or under 30 for the first half. Both teams under 30.
Score 30.
And KU had 30 with an outrageous amount of time left in the first half. Or 29, and we 29. Didn't. We missed 19 straight shots, and the guy won the bet. So, yeah, when you go on just
76
crazy droughts,
76 points, and they shot 4 free throws. It's not like they were 1-and-1s, missed the front end. They needed to make 1 free throw to hit. That's one of the worst I've ever seen. I think 5 minutes, and you're at 76.
That's so bad.
I wish you had that.
Our starters were
your
still.
text.
Yeah. Our starters were still in. I think with. 2 or 3 to go?
Yeah, of course. I was like, why is Oach playing? We're up 24 points. And
both walk-ons went in and out on threes. It's just it's tough. You guys want to give a pick on KU this weekend or no? Quick little pick. I got the Hawks. I'm not worried. 12 plus.
KU -5?
Yeah.
12 plus? So you don't agree with my take that it's going to be close?
I could see it. I just feel like it's some good value.
I like KU. I think I like KU -5. I think it'll be disgusting. It'll be ugly, but we're just so much better than them. I think we pull it out and win by 7, 8, 9, somewhere in that range.
Yeah, I don't even know who would have stones to bet on West Virginia. They're just not even close to as good. Hawks are rolling besides losing to Texas late and melting down to OU, but
yeah.
I couldn't take West Virginia.
No. Yeah. They've got to be checked out too. They're not playing for shit anymore. So
I would like to hear the best song ever though. So hopefully they beat us.
Oh. I thought you were asking me to play something.
We can just play it. I don't think we can do that. YouTube's so strict on that, so don't come fire up Country Roads. But yeah. Yeah. Good episode, boys. The Hawks won 2 straight. we get hopefully an easy win Saturday, which I don't know. It probably won't be, but we'll see. Yeah. When will we be back next? Probably will we wait until after Tuesday, 22nd?
Also, monstrous game in the Big 12 tomorrow night.
Yes.
Yeah.
Baylor at Tech. If Tech wins,
this one is
a share. A share is locked, and I think outright's got to be too, because Baylor. If Baylor beat us in Waco, it'd be different, but a share would probably be a lock if Tech wins at home against Baylor tomorrow night.
Yeah, need that. Need it bad. Yeah. Go Red Raiders.
It's over.
All right, folks, that's it for this episode. We will see you sometime next week.
Rock Chalk.